Hey guys, welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. We're going to try a new recipe today. I'm going to film this just like I would say do in a live stream. We're just going to go through the motion. Basically, I'm going to treat you just like I would if you were in my kitchen. In fact, there's dirty dishes in my sink and there's this morning's coffee still in the coffee pot. But we're going to go for it because we are in a monsoon rain outside. We've done all that we can, so we're going to make things count in the kitchen. I've been wanting to try some whole wheat biscuits. I believe I tried them once before, and that was when I really started trying to get kind of good at making biscuits. I think I've gotten a little bit better, so we're going to try to make this work, make them a little bit healthier for some of the folks in the family, including in my family and in yours. So some of this is just going to be Biscuit 101, and we're going to fly through it. I'm going to try not to interrupt the video unless I get some whiny puppies over here, you know, who need another cage because they're getting so big and fat. Tonight's agenda. So what I'm going to do is cut the flour, the white flour, with whole wheat flour. This is not rocket science. So for some of you, this is just going to be a basic walk through how to make different types of biscuits 101. Some of this is going to be old news to you. Some of this may be something you've never tried. I want to see if I like it. See if I can make it work. What do you think? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my basic recipe and I'm going to adapt it with some whole wheat flour. So first things first, when you start to make biscuits, you need to turn your oven on. Mine is right behind you there, preheating. Right now, you'll hear it beep here in a few minutes at 400 degrees. That's what I bake my biscuits at for my elevation or whatever I do, okay? Also, I have my Lodge carbon steel right in there heating up. Now I may have to pull it out at some point because you don't want it iron hot. You know, they'll just burn you through and through, but you do want it really, really heated and warmed up. So those two things are happening right now in my kitchen. Next thing I'm going to do, so you've got it preheated, you got your pan ready to go. Now, unless you use real buttermilk, and you don't have to use buttermilk at all, but if you do and you want to cheat and make it quick and simple and easy, you need to get you a cup of milk. I've got a cup of milk, cold milk in here. And what I'm going to do is splash in some vinegar, some really good white vinegar. Tablespoon, teaspoon, whatever I feel like, right? The key is you want to do that first because you want that to sit there and you want it to clump and clabber up. So while you're making your biscuits and getting everything ready and all that's preheating, that buttermilk is getting going, right? Because we're not in milking season right now, so we got to make our own because I don't like the store-bought. Okay. First things first, I've got my bowl. Now I'm going to do 2 cups. So I want to let you know that I went ahead and pre-measured. I'm going to do, this is 1 nice full cup of plain white flour. Okay, I went ahead and did that because it's over there. I'll make that simple stupid. 1 cup. Now instead of doing 2 cups of white flour, I'm actually going to do, I've already goofed up here. Look here. Here's my extra flour. So I'm going to put it in here. See, it's like live action right here. Now, I bought some whole wheat flour. You buy whatever brand you like. And I'm going to get me another cup. So I've done 1 full cup of plain white flour. And I'm going to cut it and use, my secondary cup is going to be whole wheat. We're going to see if we like this, right? I think that we will. Now, so that's in there. I'm going to go ahead and mix it. Okay, I'm just blending the flours together. No big deal. Oven's ready. So I'm just doing this right here. Not rocket science. You can make any type of biscuit you want in terms of size. I use a biscuit cutter these days. I did a live stream a couple of weeks ago with this. And as I told them, this in my premium group on Facebook, we did a full live on this, on how to make different types of biscuits and whatnot. I told them that I got this new cutter. It's not that new, but nonetheless. And I really like it. Instead of getting 10 to 12 smaller biscuits, I get, say, 8 or 9, usually around 8, medium to large, not necessarily cat head, but good-sized biscuits. You can use a jar, you can use a ring, you can use cups, you know, you can use whatever you got in the cabinet, okay? If you want to drop them, that's your business. All right, the next thing that I do with my biscuits, some people do not do this, I do. I add just a pinch of salt. This is just the pink Himalayan salt. Pinch that right in there. Just a pinch, no biggie. The next thing that I do is 3 teaspoons, or about a good old sized tablespoon of baking powder, okay? Got that in there. Next thing I'm going to do is about a half or a little less of your baking soda. Don't do much. You'll pucker up like a fish, okay? And I kind of scatter that on around in there. Now these are your dry ingredients, okay? So again, I mix those through again because you don't want a little bit of this or a little bit of that on one side versus the other, and that goes into one biscuit and you take a bite and it just ruins the whole moment for you. So I kind of just mix it through. You know, I'm not necessarily fluffing, I'm just kind of mixing. You can, as I told my folks before, you can use a whisk if you want to look a little bit more she-she, Food Network. We're not going that route today. So that right there, those are your dry ingredients mixed in right there. Now, I'm going to walk over here, which you can't see, and for these, I'm actually going to use butter. Now, there's a whole argument on what type of fat you want to use for your biscuits. I don't care what you use. It's your business. You can use lard. I've got it right there. You can use real butter. This is real butter. This is salted, which technically I probably should want to use unsalted, but it's not going to make that big of a difference. Don't sweat the small stuff, people. If you're learning to make biscuits, however, and you're going to use all the white flour, I will tell you right now, we're just going to go on with it. Get you some Crisco. If you can use Crisco to help train you to create really wonderful biscuits. The goal is fluffy, firm, beautiful biscuits. Crisco is a great tool to use. I don't use it often, but I will tell you, I will use it in my biscuits. And if an emergency comes, I'll use it in whatever I need to use it in because that's the way we roll. Today I'm going to use butter. Now, this is your fat. And some folks freeze their butter and grate it and do all these things. I don't do that, people. You're going to have to get your hands in it, so why go through all that fuss? Now, I'm going to use about, I don't know, I usually use between 4 and 6 tablespoons of fat. Regardless of what fat it is, Crisco, lard, butter, that's about what I use, okay? And I just start plumping this in there. This is really cold. The colder, the better. Actually, what I did is I put this in the freezer when I started getting ready here. I put these in the freezer, so these have been in the freezer for about 10 minutes, the butter, okay? I decided to go with butter because I figure, you know, if this is a little drier, you know, depending on the texture of how this turns out, which I'm not sure it's going to be that different, I thought butter might be a little friendlier. So again, you pick and choose on your fats, okay? Now, you've got this in here. You're going to roll this over. Now you gotta crumble all this up. I don't know how well my lighting is there. So you've got all that mixed in there, and you've got to work it. You've got to own it, right? So whether this is Crisco, lard, or butter, what you want to do is just like if you make homemade tortillas or anything like that, you're going to come on in here and you're going to pinch. You know, it's not really a big deal because here's the thing. If one little piece of larger chunky butter is in one side versus the other, that's pretty forgivable, right? Because you know when that starts to bake, that's going to turn out really good. So all I'm doing is mixing. If we make biscuits complicated and have to deep think it and do all of these things, then you're not going to be prone to making them. We want you to try them in different ways and different styles and to go for it. So I'm just mixing it, making it a little crumbly. I'm not adding any gluten in on this, by the way. I'm going to try to see how this turns out. Some folks, when they work with the whole wheat, they like to add a little bit of the gluten back in. I'm not doing that. So we're going to see how well we can get by here. If we like this, we might just go whole wheat. I do tend to like good old-fashioned white biscuits. So this is a good start to get a little bit healthier. Okay, got a little, it's crumbly, it's getting crumbly, there's a few chunks in here. I'm not deep thinking it. Remember, when you started, your oven is already preheated. You heard mine ding over there, right? And my pan is in there, which I'm gonna go over there here in just a second and take it out. And I'm gonna have flour flying everywhere because that's really what happens. Okay, so, good deal. So I've got that. Just like Nana. All right, so I've got this right here. Woo! Now I'm going to use carbon steel. This is Lodge carbon steel. I've got one thing out. I love it so much. It is on fire hot. So I'm going to let that just sit right there for a minute while I finish my biscuits. If you do not have carbon steel, you really need to look into it because you're going to get the size and the quality as far as like cast iron by Lodge, but it's lighter weight. That's why I tell you to get it. Now, look here. There's that milk. We've been letting that vinegar sit in there and clabber up, make the buttermilk. I don't know if you can see. Let me bring it over here to you. It's thick. See how it's kind of chunky? Okay. Now I'm going to come back with my fork, and I'm just going to kind of mix it through. Okay? Just kind of getting it started. No sense in getting your hands dirtier than you have to, but you are going to get your hands in on these biscuits. Okay, now remember, it's just part of it. Okay. Well, I've got plain white flour in here because I want to be able to get it all together and mix it without it being so sticky, but it will be a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put some flour on the countertop. Not too much. You don't want too much. I have learned the secret to biscuits is not overthinking it. Keep working. You got to keep trying at them. Sometimes, it's just like anything else. It doesn't matter what type of person you are as far as your culture and what you do. You can be the best at making certain things and be known for them. And then some days you're just having a bad day. So your biscuits may be flatter as a flitter. Okay, the secret though to biscuits by far is not overthinking and overworking. I'm just trying to get a nice ball there. Not sticking. I use a French rolling pin. It's my favorite. If I need to add a little bit of flour to it, I will. I don't think I'm going to. And you'll be able to see what this looks like. I see a few chunks of butter. It's rolling out pretty nice. Now, you can make this single layer. You can make it thin or thick, whatever you want to do. We're going to just do single layer today. I'm not going to double it up. If I was going to do flaky biscuits, I would make this a little bit thinner, and I would roll it over and flatten it out a little bit more. So let me pick up this so you can see what I'm talking about right here. You see what I'm talking about right there? Got one big old chunk of butter right there in the middle of that biscuit. You know that's going to be good. So, biscuit cutter. Do not twist. Do not chubby checker. That was a big learning curve for me, and it still is. You literally are going to come in and press. Press. Press and bring it up. Plop it on there, baby. Press. Plop it on there, baby. See right there? And you can tell, if I can get my lighting, it's partly whole wheat. Let me get this one up here. Take it off. You can hear it hitting the skillet a little bit. I'm going to bring this one down here. But so, I used to be in the habit of bringing down the cutter regardless of what it was, and I'd twist once or twice, and that's a no-no. You want these to rise, especially if they're single layer. You definitely want them to rise on up. So, you don't want to seal off the edges so that it will do just that. Now again, these are going to be good sized biscuits, large sized, okay? We might end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full biscuits. I always say 8 because you're going to end up with about 7 full and what I call, ooh, look at that piece of butter right there. Let's put him in the middle. You're going to end up with about 7 full size. Now, I didn't twist there. And you always have this leftover dough right here. You see that? God love its heart. I call it my dummy biscuit. Just kind of flatten it. Just put it in there. Molasses don't care. Okay, so here's what we've got right here in my sink. Right there they are. So we have 8 full, large size biscuits. I would not qualify that cat head, but they're big, and you're gonna love them. I'm gonna put them in the oven, which is preheated at 400 for about 15 minutes. Keep an eye on it, because remember, this is whole wheat, so it might vary a little bit. When you start really smelling, You know, if you're just cooking something just like 2 minutes before it starts smelling like it should, you know, you smell those biscuits, check on it, okay? I'm gonna put these in the oven. We're gonna set the timer for 15 and let's see how we roll. Alrighty guys, so this is how they've turned out at 15 minutes. Not too bad. Pretty firm. As you can see, they don't stick. Look at that steam rising up. Nice. Very nice. Which one do we go for? Let's go for this one right here. Check the bottom out. Nice. And we're going to plop it right here. And let's do a taste test. And of course, we have to do a taste test with, you know it's true. All right, there she is. I'm gonna cut her in half. See how that goes. And I'll show you. Woohoo! I like it. Very nice. All right. I'm gonna bring this right over here. Now, I'm not gonna put extra butter on it. Okay, in the real world I would, but right now I'm not gonna get it back out. We'll just try a little molasses on it, because really that's what I prefer on a biscuit is butter and molasses. Right there. Actually, this is sorghum molasses. Here we go. So, let's see. Well, my kids always say, don't eat in front of the camera. Not bad. It's got a little grittier texture. You would probably figure that. I do think that you have to put it with butter. Makes it a little richer, not so bland. I wouldn't skip out on the salt. Having that little extra salted butter in that wasn't a bad idea either. I think we're in for a win here. Not bad at all. So this gives you a great alternative to making a little bit healthier of a biscuit. Let's be honest, biscuits are pure pleasure. We love them and we're sharing it. So I hope you liked the video. We'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna turn off the camera so I can lose my manners and eat. How about that? Y'all be good out there.